Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erin and I do mostly budgeting videos like the one you're about to see here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been a little bit since I did my last video and I would like to do them more often, but ever since I wasn't delivering for Grubhub and having other types of subject videos to do, I just kind of was unsure about what to actually film. So I am over on Instagram. I just did my first story today. I was going through some stuff on my lunch break. I am working from home, but I do get a lunch break. And so I decided to spend that time organizing some things. Ever since my husband put the new flooring in our upstairs, everything is still not in its place, so I am taking some time to organize and purge, really, because even though I did purge before, there's just so much stuff that I can still get rid of. So today was unemployment day for him, and he did go to the bank and he grabbed the money, and I'm going to talk about that and how we're going to stuff my cash envelopes for next week. So we're still in the current week, which is fine. We're still covered. I don't need to go to the grocery store probably until later on this weekend. I'm thinking like maybe Saturday night or Sunday. I'm not sure yet. As far as gas, I have gas in my car. I funded a little bit extra last week, and that was intentional because I knew that I was going to be starting Grubhub again this week. And we're good on dog food and miscellaneous money. We'll get into that. So this is for next week. So for all of our variable expenses, and like I was just mentioning, I do try to keep those down to just 4 categories. It just makes things a little bit easier for me just to track and keep track of. So my cash envelopes consist of groceries, dog food, gas, and miscellaneous. So anything that doesn't fit into these 3 categories here usually just falls under the umbrella of miscellaneous. Now that works out for me, but it's not quite as precise as I would probably like. But given the fact that we are still in the midst of pandemic and quarantine, and there's not a whole lot going on or a whole lot open, miscellaneous, just being generic, has pretty much covered us. It's not like we're going to the movies or, you know, we have like events to go to, or we're not taking any vacations right now, and that's just a personal choice, also a financial choice. But yeah, so I think that this has been covering us. Now, when things get a little bit back to, I guess, normal, for lack of a better term, I probably will start designating different categories under miscellaneous. So I might just keep one envelope, but I might have a card inside that envelope or a Post-it note on the outside of it that actually says what the money is earmarked for. So I think that's the best way to handle it moving forward. So I am feeling better, and I just appreciate all of your well wishes so much. It's really been kind of you to reach out to me and on Instagram or you know, just emails and things like that. But I am feeling better. When I do something like this and record a video and have to talk a lot, I do feel a difference in my breathing, but pneumonia just takes forever to get over. So I think as long as I'm just moving in the right direction, I feel good about that. So the total amount for unemployment for 1 week in our state, and based on his income before, I think this is the maximum that our state pays out, is $480. So I'm going to subtract instantly from that $30, and he kept that aside just for himself, and he does like to have a little bit of pocket money, of course, you know, during the week, as we all do. If I need something, I will go to our Discover card and we'll pay it off the next week. You know, if it's something that is like an unexpected or just like an impromptu purchase, he doesn't really do that. So not that he can't, but it is better for him just to have a little bit of cash on hand and just have it readily available if he needs it. So that's just money that, you know, he can do whatever with. So we are left with a balance of $450, which is what I have in cash from the bank. So I'm going to count that out. As far as my sinking funds go, I did update those last week because last week was a paycheck for me, plus it was also unemployment for him. So we had a little bit extra money to work with, but this week I don't. So I'm going to save this and do this as a separate video, you know, coming up. And you know, fund this again at that time. But right now, I just don't have anything extra. What I did want to talk to you guys about is, as most of you know, I have gone ahead and opened up a Capital One 360 account, and I'm really happy with it, mostly because it allows you to open up your checking account, but also you can then open up multiple savings accounts underneath that one checking account. And I love that because it's allowed me to put names to all those accounts and keep it very organized. So as you can see here, I name my sinking fund accounts Christmas, dogs, savings, and emergency. And so I can still do that. That's how I see it when I open up the app. However, I did try to make a deposit last week because, as you know, I did put some money into our sinking funds last week, and I tried to make the cash deposit at an ATM, and I used an all points ATM. So I'm telling you guys this because I was hoping that maybe some of you would have a trick or a hint on how to get around this. I went to an all points ATM, which is supposed to be free for Capital One customers. I don't have a Capital One branch in my area. And so I went there, I put the money in, and it rejected it. So it took the money, and then it said that transaction was not available. So I went to my bank, and I tried it there, same thing. It took the money. It looked like everything was going to work great. And then it again gave me the error message, and it gave me the cash back. So I ended up calling Capital One, and I spoke to a representative that seemed a little bit uncertain about the information he was actually providing. And I had explained that I went into an all-point ATM, and I asked if there was any hold on my card. You know, is this a function I just don't have, doing cash deposits at an ATM? So he checked into everything. He said my card was good to go, no problem with it. I should be able to do that. And I asked him, I said, is this only a feature available at Capital One banks? So he said to hold again. He came back and he said yes. And honestly, that's not what I'm reading online. So I don't know why I'm unable to do this, especially at an all-point ATM, which is supposed to be a partner of Capital One. So if any of you guys know, or if you know that there's some kind of workaround or some way that I can get this to work, it is so cumbersome for me to put it into my local bank and then transfer it. The transfer part is not difficult, but I have to wait between 3 and 5 days depending on which bank. And because I told you guys I have 2 local banks that I use. So I've tried both, 3 and 5 days. So it's very frustrating and it's extremely slow. So if that's going to be the case moving forward, I just don't know. If I can't make a cash deposit at Capital One at an ATM, I just don't know if that's something that I can keep using moving forward, because that is incredibly inconvenient. So again, I'm putting it out there because I wanted to know if you guys knew the answer to that, or if that's just the case. And if that's just the case, then I have some thinking to do about how to move forward. So 50, 1, 50, 2, 50, so 250. 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40, 60, 80, 10, and 10. So $450. All right, now we are going to divvy this up and stuff it in my old-fashioned envelopes that I made and I said I was going to quit using. They are really cumbersome. I think that they're adorable. They're just folded craft paper, cardstock actually, and I really like the look of them. But yeah, to get in and out of them and make them actually work, yeah, it's not that much fun. So anyway, all right, so for groceries, I am going to zoom in just a bit so I can write this down. I'm going to put $125 for the week, for next week. Now that's a little bit more than we're used to doing. I'm used to doing $100, but I found that we end up needing a couple of things, or I don't know, like I usually stay within the budget and I'm okay with that, like everything works, you know, but sometimes I find that we either don't buy something because I haven't budgeted for it, or that there's just other things that I didn't plan on that I realize later that I need. So I'm going to put in $125. So there is 3 of us in our household, and also you know, a few times a week we have my mom come over to have dinner with us too. Now when my niece was living here, that was also another added person, so the $100 just wasn't really stretching like it needed to. So I am going with 125. So that is what I'm going to plan for this week. And let me see. My mom is so kind. You know, we try to have her over, and you know, we love having her here, and she loves to come over, but she always brings us stuff. You know, she never comes empty-handed. So it'll be like stuff from the store, or you know, something like that. And I really appreciate that. That's a huge help. You know what I mean? All right, so $4.50, and I'm going to subtract 125. So that brings us down to 3 1/4. And for dog food, as you guys know, we typically do $25, and I am going to stick with that because our dog food is right around $24.99. It's sometimes like it'll be on sale. It just depends. So I'm going to stick with 25. And I'm going to put that into the dog food envelope. 25. All right, so we have groceries and we have the dog food covered. So for gas, this is kind of a big one, and I know that it's kind of a double-edged sword because I'm making money when I deliver for Grubhub, but then I'm spending extra money on gas. But honestly, the money that I make far outweighs the gas money, so I just have to bite the bullet and do that. So gas money for both my husband and I'm going to put aside. So this week, I'm going to put aside a little bit extra, 20, 40, 60, 80. All right, I'm going to put aside a little bit extra. We are not going to need $80, but we might. So last time we had to buy some gas for the lawnmower. I know we're going to have to do that again. Plus, you know, he has his vehicle and then I have my vehicle, and I fill up just a lot more gas when I'm doing deliveries. So I'm going to put $80 aside just to be covered, and I'm really excited because since I have been delivering this week, I am going to have an updated side income video for you next week. So I'm very excited about that. It's just been so long, and for those of you who are new here, that is something that I've been doing for a while, just to bring in extra income. And I stopped doing it because I did get sick, and it's been a few weeks, and finally I'm going to be able to show some earnings there. So the rest I have is 150, 170, 190, 210, and 220. All right, so I didn't subtract that. So I need to subtract 25 and then subtract 80. 220. All right, so for $220, I'm going to do a couple of things. I am actually going to put in some of this money into miscellaneous. I think I'm going to do $30 for that, but I'm going to put the rest in for our bills. Now, if you have watched my videos before, you know that down here I usually track. In fact, let me show you. This is an older sheet, but down here I usually track. In fact, this is for September. So for September, so far I have $1,100, and that is toward my bills next month. So I pay my bills a month in advance, and I'm thinking about doing just a really quick and easy video just to talk about that, because I do get a lot of questions on how I got a month ahead. And it is something that I usually address in the comments, but I think I'm just going to do a little tiny designated video so you all know. So I have $1,100. Now, when I get paid next week, that is not going to cover all of our bills for September. So I need to start putting in some extra money. So I'm going to add some extra money for September bills. So as you can see, I have 50, 150, 170, 190. I'm gonna go 200. Yeah, that's much better. All right, so for September bills, I didn't even make a line item for this, and I totally should have, because that's important. Oops. All right. So September bills, I'm just gonna write here. And I might do an updated video also to talk about what our bills consist of every month, because it's been a long time since I've done that. So on August 14th, which was my first paycheck of the month, I've set aside $1,100, okay? And today I am setting aside $200. which brings us to $1,300. And I know that I'm still gonna have to subsidize my next paycheck, but it's probably something from next week. So I'm just putting a running tally in parentheses. So 1,100 and then adding 200 brings us to 1,300, okay? So that's what I need to do with that money. It is more important for me to do that, obviously, than it is to add to my savings account this week. So I'm going to put this money aside for that. And then let's just put $20 down for miscellaneous. All right. And that brings us minus 200 for bills, minus 20 for miscellaneous, zero-based budget, which is how I like it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I love when every dollar has a purpose, and that way I'm not really tempted. Like if I have extra money lying around and I think, oh, okay, well, I didn't need it for groceries and I didn't need it for gas. Like I could just use it to go to Joann's and, you know, pick up 25,000 new notebooks like I like to do. But when I have all my money earmarked for something, and I have it planned for a purpose, then I am much less tempted and my thought process doesn't really go to that place. So I don't really think, oh, I have all this extra money, you know, let me figure out a way to blow it, because that is how I used to think before I really got into strict budgeting, but it's just not how I think any longer. So anyway, I did mention, some of you have found me on my Instagram page. It is listed below. It is linked below. But I did my first story today because I was organizing a little bit. I got off tangent when I was talking earlier. I was organizing a little bit on my lunch break, and I'm trying to get everything back in order where it needs to be. But I'm going to start updating my stories there pretty often because it's just a nice way to give you guys little updates and maybe introduce some different types of content and subject matter into the overall channel and what I'm doing here, and have you guys have a little bit more of a snippet into what else is going on in my life. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody is doing well, that you're healthy, that your week is going really well. And I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Take care.